In 1984, in Bhopal, India, an accident at a chemical plant killed thousands of people. The following year, an accident released toxic chemicals at a plant in West Virginia. Incidents such as these spurred Congress to pass the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, or Epcra, in 1986. This law builds on EPA's Chemical Emergency Preparedness Program and numerous state and local programs. Epcra guarantees citizen access to chemical data and facilitates planning for chemical emergencies. Under this law, facilities must provide information on chemical releases to federal, state, and local authorities. Facilities are required to alert the public to the chemicals used, stored, and emitted into their communities. Epcra, also known as SARA Title III, has 4 major sections. They are emergency planning, emergency release notification, community right to know reporting requirements, and toxic chemical release inventory. Information gained from these 4 programs gives states and communities a perspective on the chemical hazards present in their community. The emergency planning provision of Epcra develops state and local governments' emergency response and preparedness capabilities. It encourages better coordination and planning, especially within the affected community. The emergency planning provisions require the governor of each state to form a State Emergency Response Commission, or CERC. The commission includes people from public health, emergency management, environment, and transportation sectors. CERCs establish districts called Local Emergency Planning Commissions, supervise and coordinate these local commissions, establish procedures for receiving and processing public requests for information, review local emergency plans, and notify the EPA regional office of all facilities subject to the emergency planning requirements. Local Emergency Planning Commissions, or LEPCs, include selected state and local officials and representatives from police, fire, civil defense agencies, public health professionals, environmental agencies, hospitals, transportation officials, facility representatives, community groups, and the media. The Commission's primary responsibility is to develop an emergency response plan and review the plan annually. If there is a release of a listed hazardous substance, facilities must notify the affected LEPCs and CERCs. By prompt notification, facilities speed up emergency response actions, medical attention, and evacuations. After a release, facilities must submit a follow-up report. Facilities that store, produce, or use certain chemicals must submit detailed information on those chemicals. Facilities must comply with community right to know reports if they must produce or procure material safety data sheets, exceed the threshold amounts for these substances. Section 313 of Epcra requires EPA to establish an inventory of routine toxic chemical emissions. Facilities subject to Section 313 must submit a toxic release inventory form every year to EPA and state officials. The reports are submitted on July 1 and reflect the emissions of the preceding year. Facilities are subject to 313 if they meet the standards listed on the screen. Under Epcra, both civil, judicial, and administrative actions may be taken against facilities that fail to comply with emergency planning, emergency notification, or reporting requirements. Criminal actions may be taken against any person who knowingly and willfully fails to provide emergency release notification. A maximum penalty of $50,000 or 5 years in prison may be assessed. Citizens may initiate actions against EPA, state emergency response commissions, or the owner-operators of a facility for failure to meet the requirements of Epcra. State and local authorities may institute actions against facility owner-operators for failure to comply with Epcra. You have completed the Epcra module of the Environmental Statutes Review course.